Merlin Bird ID is one of my favorite tools for beginner birders, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how to use everything inside of this incredible birding app. So let's get started. So Merlin Bird ID is a free app from the App Store. You can go ahead and download it. Once you're downloaded, you're going to open it up, and this is the first thing that you're going to see. So right away you're going to see this bird of the day. It's just one bird that's usually found in your area that you can go ahead and just try and see that day, kind of like a fun challenge. I don't exactly know where they pull this data from, but I think it might be in your likely birds, whatever location you have there set last. I think that might be where it pulls it from. Occasionally when I'm looking at birds in Costa Rica and I leave it set to a location in Costa Rica, it'll pull up a bird from Costa Rica, which definitely is not in my area, so I won't be able to see it, but I'm pretty sure that's where it pulls that from. Not exactly sure. So next we have Sound ID, and this is one of the coolest parts in Merlin. You just hit the green button, and then it will identify birds in real time as it hears them. You can save the sound recording to go back and review later. And really, it's pretty amazing just how accurate Sound ID is. It'll be able to listen to 10 different birds singing and pick them all apart. It's really pretty cool and a very, very good way to learn how to identify birds by sound. I use it all the time, and it is very helpful for that. Next, we have Photo ID, so you can take a photo or choose a photo, and then it's going to analyze that photo and give you a whole bunch of different options for what that bird might be. Now, depending on how good of a photo you have, it might not be able to exactly pinpoint exactly what bird it is, but it will generally get pretty close and does a pretty good job. So if you're a beginner and you see a bird at your feeder and you don't know what it is, try out Photo ID and see if you can get a decent photo, and then it'll analyze things like the colors and shape of the bird, and then give you some different possible birds that it might be for you to go back and look at, and then you can confirm later. And then next, one of my favorite things for beginner birders is step-by-step ID. So you put in a location, date, and then what size it is. Like we've got goose sized or larger, between crow and goose, crow sized, robin, sparrow sized or smaller. Then we're going to put in what main colors we saw in the birds. So let's go ahead and do white and brown. And then you want to put in just like some behavior. So what was the bird doing? Was it eating out of feeder? Was it swimming or wading on the ground, in trees or bushes? And then it's going to create an entire list of possible birds based on those questions. And it's personalized for whatever location you put in there. So here we can see for New Braunfels, Texas on June 5th, the most likely birds would be a Buick's wren, a Carolina wren, eastern phoebe, lark sparrow. And so this can be really helpful if, maybe you see a bird in your backyard and you're not sure what it is. Instead of having to flip through the entire field guide and try to find a match, just go into Merlin, answer those questions, and then it will give you a personalized list, probably going to have that bird in it. Now, another thing that you can do is you can just click on that bird, and then it's going to bring up a bunch of different pictures for you, a short description about the bird, like a little bit about it. Usually it'll have something about a similar species or how to separate from similar species. Like here it tells you how to separate from a Carolina wren. We've got some behavior, habitat that it prefers, and then there's also songs. So we'll have different songs, calls. There's usually quite a bit of songs and calls for different birds. Then if we scroll down, we've got a range map, so you can see where this bird lives and if it's expected to be found in your area. If it's not expected to be found in your area, there's probably not a good chance that you actually saw this bird, but birds are occasionally found outside of your range, so it's always good to pay attention. Next, we have the Explore tab in Merlin. Now, I really like this tab for several reasons. So first, let's go to likely birds. So you can filter by likely birds, put in any location that you'd like, date, and then we'll go ahead and sort by family most likely. Then it's going to bring up a list of all the most likely birds in our area. It's like if we go to shorebirds here, we'll see that the most likely shorebird is a killdeer. Spotted sandpipers aren't super common, and all of these are not common at all. If it has a red dot, that usually means that it's rare and is not very likely to be found in your area. Another thing that we'll notice here is this bar chart. So right underneath the Latin name here, you'll see a chart that tells you how common that bird is. So like we've got the different months here, starting January, ending in December. The killdeer is a year-round resident, so there's not really going to be a whole lot of variation. But if we go down here to Warblers, we'll see that the golden-cheeked warbler is only found in the spring and summer, and they head south to Mexico for the winter, so you're not going to find them in the winter. Now, another cool thing that we can do in here is we can hide birds that are on our life list. Now, for me, I don't actually have any. Let's go ahead and pick a different location that would have some birds that I haven't seen. So, since I'm planning a trip to Costa Rica right now, let's go ahead and do a location in Costa Rica. So, we'll do Arenal National Park. So for June 5th, we'll sort by family most likely, and then we're going to hide birds that are on my life list. So if we don't hide birds, then there's going to be 356 birds that it shows. If we do hide birds that are on my life list, there's going to be 309. And so that can be kind of cool just to see what birds you have not seen before. So if you're looking to find some new species or you want to study those new species, you can hide all the birds that are on your life list, and then only see birds that would be lifers for you. Now, it gets this life list from eBird. And also, if you report any birds in Merlin, then that's also going to be on your life list. I'll link my eBird tutorial down in the video description below, and also at the end of this video, because eBird is another incredible tool. It's a little bit more complicated, but it is a very neat tool for finding birds and logging the different birds that you see. Now, another thing that we can do is we can do offline birds. So you can download these packs, and then that way you'll be able to have all these birds installed on whatever device you're using. So that way if you don't have any internet or cell service, you're still able to access these birds. And so that's actually really cool because it kind of acts as like a field guide that's digital. So you don't have to bring a book while you're out birding. You can just have Merlin, and then all of these birds are going to be downloaded on your device for you to look. So you can search up here. If we want house finch, we can search for house finch, and then we can get a bunch of different information about it. Now, another cool thing is if you want to quickly sort birds, you can do the 4-letter code. So every bird has a 4-letter code inside of Merlin and eBird. That is just the first 2 letters of every word. So like cackling goose would be C-A-G-O. Now, what you'll notice is that's actually the same for Canada goose, so not every bird has a unique 4-letter code, but it is kind of helpful for finding birds quickly. So like evening grosbeak would be E-V-G-R. We've got the EV for first 2 letters in evening, and then the GR for the first 2 letters in grosbeak. For a bird with more than 2 words in its name, like the black-bellied whistling duck, we would just do B for black, B for bellied, W for whistling, and then D for duck. If its name has 3 letters, like the fulvous whistling duck, we would do F for fulvous whistling, W for whistling, and then DU for duck to make it a 4-letter word. Next, we have the life list tab. So like I kind of mentioned earlier, this connects to your eBird life list, so any bird that you submit through eBird will show up right here, and you can actually report birds with Merlin when you're doing step-by-step ID at the end where it shows you all the different birds. And once you tap on that bird and then scroll down, hit the green button, there's going to be some text that says, "This is my bird." You can click that, and then it will log that bird, add it to your life list. You can also connect that to eBird, so if you wanted to submit that checklist to eBird, you can do it that way too. Pretty neat to just kind of see all the different birds that you've seen, and then the first location that you've seen them. You can search right there, up in the top right. Then also you can sort by family up here with these arrows, like if you want to sort it by waterfowl, newest first, oldest first. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And so next we've got some settings that are fairly interesting. This is how you manage your bird packs. Also, what language you'd like. If you want the Latin names of birds to be showed, you can toggle that on or off. If you'd like a notification of the bird of the day, you can do that. And then select what time you'd like it to pop up. Some sound ID settings, like if you want to move live matches up to the top, so then you always get the most recent bird that's sung up at the top. Makes it a little bit easier to figure out what bird's singing, so I always like to have that on. How you'd like to save your sightings, and so that's really it inside of Merlin. Now, I mentioned eBird a couple times in this video, and it is super helpful even if you're a beginner. So go ahead and check out this tutorial right here where I break down everything inside of eBird.